Yo, what's up everybody? Mike here, and today we're doing the Q&A. Now, in one of my recent videos, I specified that I would start posting the Q&A on Facebook natively. A lot of people didn't like that. They said they still want it on YouTube. So the Q&A will now be double uploaded, once on Facebook on my page and once on YouTube. I think that'll help get it more viewership, which allows it to help more people, which is the whole goal of the Q&A every week. So I would rather it get to as many people as possible. If you have questions you want to submit for the show, leave them down in the comments or just comment on the video on Facebook. I'll make sure I get to absolutely as many of them as I can every single week. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's go ahead and get started. Sorian asks, do you ever come across the need to know the exact amount you paid for a single item and how much it's sold for? Or does the dollar cost averaging suffice your curiosity? Now, what Sorian's referring to is the fact that I tend to average cost, especially when I buy things in lots. I'll break the cost amongst each item rather than individually pricing items. Or if I go to the thrift store, rather than remembering what I paid for each item, I'll just divide it evenly amongst the group. Now, this question, the way you asked it, makes it seem like I'd want to know the price for my curiosity. Honestly, I don't care what the price is for the item. All I care is that on the grand scheme of things, I'm in the green and making a profit. There's a once in a while there's a need for me to find exactly what I paid for something, maybe for bookkeeping issues or because something needs to be written off. But typically I already have records of that stuff put up if I thought it was important or if the item's a high ticket item. Besides that, I really don't need to know what each item cost. All I need to know is my gross sales versus my gross fees and how much I came out in the green on a whole level. I look at business as a whole thing rather than individual pieces and parts. I think it really helps people realize how much money they're making versus nitpicking the sale of each individual item. Of course, I pay attention to items that are selling and not selling, and I adapt as I go. Betsy asks, what program do you use to snipe on eBay? I use Gixen. You can go there at Gixen.com. That's Gixen.com. Completely free, great program. Lots of people use it, and it's 100% trustworthy. It's a great program. I've been using it for 3 years now. Tara asked, when you sell video games, do you clean them? She also asked, when you package games for shipment, do you box them or bag them? Now, I think she's referring to FBA and the shipment portion. I clean games depending on their value and how dirty they are. I mean, typically if a game is really dirty, I wouldn't purchase it anyways. I mean, if it's like gross or grimy or has lime scale, I'll let it be. I clean games from time to time, nothing crazy. Discs, I'll wipe off with a microfiber towel with alcohol maybe quickly to make sure there's no fingerprints. Nothing crazy at all. I don't invest a lot of time in it, and it's not something I spend a lot of time doing unless it's like a very rare cartridge or something that really needs touched up. For packaging, I bag most video games for FBA. I'm going to do a very in-depth breakdown video of how I package video games very soon because I keep getting tons and tons of questions about it. So a very detailed FBA packaging video for video games coming very soon, I promise. James asks, hey Michael, how do you keep track of your inventory? Do you have an accounting journal to keep track or do you use another method? Your last video you mentioned you had a constant flow of auctions, snipes, and thrift store goods coming in. How do you manage this as a one-man show? First of all, fantastic question, and the way you wrote it, probably not the way I read it, was really, really well done because I'm terrible with grammar, but it's really nice. Anyways, it can get complicated, and I've basically streamlined the whole system now to where it's simple. If you watch my last weekly update from last week, you'll see how I do some stuff, but the basic breakdown is this. I buy merchandise, I bring it in, I inspect it, everything that I'm going to sell gets put aside, everything that I consider garbage, like if I buy a lot or something, gets thrown out or put in my extras. Those are removed of cost. They now cost me nothing. Then the cost is divided amongst each lot evenly. So if I have 20 games and it costs me $100, it's $5 per game. Then those numbers that I just told you get put into my point of sale system with the ID transaction number from eBay, Amazon, my thrift store receipt, whatever. So now I have a corresponding number on a sheet of paper that goes in my eBay purchases, Amazon purchases, thrift store purchases bin. And then my point of sale has the corresponding transaction with the amount of units, the total cost, and the price per unit. So now my point of sale would say the eBay ID. It would say Each game costs $5. It cost me a total of $100. And I can print out individual barcodes for the games and put them on the back if I want. Or I can put them all in a bin and put the barcode on the side. Now when I sell one of those games, I then scan the barcode out of my point of sale system. It opens up that item. I put how much I sold it for, automatically calculates all my profit for me, and then it keeps track of everything. And I also have a streamlined system for things I ship to FBA. What I'll do is I then scan all of the items out that are going to FBA, but I put that they sold for $0. So now those items are negative, so they go against my profits. So let's say I sent those 20 games to FBA. I'm now minus $100 in the system, but at the end of the month I put my FBA sales in with zero cost. So now those are all profits, so they offset each other, and that's how I get accurate numbers for FBA, eBay, and everything in between, all in one system. The system I use is PHP Point of Sale. JG asks, when sending Angry Birds plush to FBA, do you put it in a poly bag with a suffocation warning? Yes, every plush you send to FBA must be bagged no matter what. That's part of their policy. Any bag with an opening more than, is it 10 inches flat? I can't remember. I always forget. It don't matter. I put a suffocation warning on every bag. My larger bags have them printed on there. Just be safe. Put a suffocation label on them. They're cheap, and you can get bags with it printed on if you want. Arbitron asks, do you have any experience selling kitchen appliances like blenders, coffee makers, Foreman grills? I don't have much experience in it, actually little to none. I think I've sold a few blenders over the years, but not really my expertise. I'm not the best when it comes to household goods. I really do, when I say specialize in video games, it's my thing. That's what I love. I'm really good at it. That's what I do best in. All the stuff in between I do okay with, but it just hasn't seemed to work out the same as video games have for me. I'm trying to expand so much, I really am, but it's hard to start specializing in different areas. I've heard that there's certain blenders that can sell for big money, certain coffee makers that can sell for big money. I would have no clue which ones they are. I have to look everything like that up individually at the store. Yeshu, I hope I pronounced your name right. I probably fucked it up really bad. I'm sorry. Asked, I have a question about distributors. I recently registered with a distributor for Nintendo and the product prices are insane. Seriously, all the prices are only like $9 cheaper than retail. Some of them are even as low as $5. Is this normal for the pricing? Or are these guys overcharging? Well, it sounds to me like you found a wholesale middleman or whatever you want to call it. Basically, they buy from the real wholesaler, they resell it to you marked up, and they say they're a wholesaler. And a lot of companies do this. This is what I warn people when they get into wholesale. Understand how it works. There's 95% middlemen and 5% real wholesalers. If you can find that 5%, you can make so much money. But it's a high initial cost, and margins can often be very low. And why are you looking into a Nintendo distributor? Okay, their margins are low to begin with. So that if you can find a middleman, they're really low. Nintendo is very good at upholding their prices because they limit distribution of everything. That's why Game Boys, every single model of them, Game Boy games, N64s, GameCubes, all these things have maintained value. You can sell all of those games right now, all of those consoles, for as much as you could 10 years ago. The reason is Nintendo knows what they're doing. They limit distribution very strictly, and they're very smart about how many units are produced for different things. And that's why their items maintain value, and you're not going to do well wholesaling Nintendo. And trust me, you won't even be able to meet the minimums for a true distributor of them, and you're not going to be able to get the things you want. If you think you're going to go buy Amiibos at wholesale price and resell them, think again, because someone already ordered the max amount they can order from them. It's not the kind of distributor you're looking for. Chris B asked, are you a basketball fan? Yes, Chris, I'm a huge basketball fan. As much as I hate to admit it, I became a huge basketball fan the first year LeBron joined the Cavaliers. Now, that's not to say I'm some giant LeBron fan. I'm really not. It was just happened to be the age, and there was so much hype around it, so that's when I started watching. I was a teenager then, so I just really got into basketball, and I used to watch every single game. I, to this day, am a diehard Cavs fan. We're in the finals right now, and I should just have someone record me when I watch a game. I mean, I'm yelling at the refs through the TV. I'm getting so excited. I'm jumping up and down. I'm just all over the place, super competitive, almost like you would imagine Gary Vaynerchuk when he talks about the Jets. I'm the same exact way. I just freak out about it. But I'm like that even if I'm watching a normal basketball game for the Cavaliers. I just thoroughly enjoy it. I also really like going to baseball games and watching the Indians. I don't really like watching on TV as much, and I really enjoy football on TV or going to the game. I get into all sports. I worked at a sports bar for most of my teenage years, and a lot of the people that worked there were diehard sports fans, so I kind of learned from them. I will say, though, I am more of a sports fan than I am a team fan. I was watching the game last night, and one of my posts on Facebook, a lot of people may have seen, was about how great of a shooter Stephen Curry was. I thoroughly believe that guy is phenomenal. He's going to be one of the best shooters of all time, if not the best. It's hard to say he's better than Larry Bird at this point. I'm a huge Larry Bird fan anyways, but he is phenomenal. The shots he was making consistently are just unbelievable, and I was thoroughly enjoying his shooting, even though he almost won the game for his team. Tony asks, what is the store name of your eBay account? First of all, my store names are in the bottom description of all my YouTube videos, so go check it out. And it's under Game Weaver, which is my brand. So, Sino Grande said, can you make a video about packaging video games for FBA? It's on the way, people, I promise. It's going to be fantastic, very in-depth. It's coming. Captain Howdy said, when I print labels for packages, where exactly do I drop them off? You drop them off right at the post office. You can drop them off right at the counter typically, or my post office has a giant rolling bin you can throw them in. You can throw them in the mailboxes outside as long as they'll fit. And my post office also has a side slide where you slide the packages in and they go into bins within the building. So you can drop off at any time of day. Obviously every post office is very different, but the same thing remains for any place. If you print pre-printed labels, you can just drop it off, leave them be. You don't need to stand in the line and all that fancy stuff typically. Alright guys, well thanks for all the questions. There was a lot today, which I really do appreciate. So if you have questions for me, leave them down in the comments, even on Facebook, and I will get to them next week. I really want to help as many people as I can, so please ask any question about anything. It can be personal, it can be business, it can be about sports, or whatever else. I'll answer any of the questions. I appreciate all the support so much. We're about to hit 8,000 subscribers, so thank you all very, very much. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it, and I'll see you all very soon.